Hey everybody, it's Andrew Brown. And in this fall long, I want to take a look at working with NACLs. They're not too difficult to work with, but what we'll do is make our way over to VPC. And what I want to do is I want to go ahead and I want to maybe create a new, we'll make a new VPC for this. So create a new VPC. I'm going to go all the way down the bottom, make sure there's no VPC endpoints. And I only want to work with one subnet to make my life a lot easier. We'll have 0 private subnets here. We'll confirm what it is that we're creating. That looks good enough to me. We'll go ahead and name this NACL example. And we'll create our VPC. And I don't care about providing feedback, but we'll create that, go view the VPC, and there we have it. So now what we can do is go ahead and create ourselves a NACL. I would like to do that via the CLI. So what I'm going to do is just go and open up our GitHub repo. I'm going to go to AWS examples. And I really just want to provide some documentation. I don't really need to use I'm just going to use the CLI that's built in here. And if I press period on my keyboard in this GitHub repo, what it's going to do is open this up in github.dev. GitHub.dev is basically a VS Code editor without any compute attached, and that's going to allow us to update our docs. So I'm going to go and see if I can change the theme so it is a little bit easier on my eyes. There we go. And so in VPCs, I'm going to make a new folder in here, call it NACLs, NACL. I'm going to make a new file. We'll just say readme.md. Because what I want to do is go ahead and create myself a NACL. And I would like to do that via the AWS CLI. So we'll type in AWS CLI NACL and see what we get. So maybe under here, and I'll go to version 2, and we'll go to examples. And so here we have one. I'm just going to paste this in. And I'll go to the right here. Not sure if I can get Vim extensions in here so my life's a little bit easier. Thank you. Okay. And so here, this will just be NACL. Don't install Vim unless you know how to use Vim, okay? It's just more for keyboard shortcuts. And so here, what I'll have is this command. Now we need to grab the VPC ID for our current, or this one here. I'm going to go ahead and ask ChatGPT to grab it for us. I'm trying not to just copy and paste and put anything in here. So grab, or using the AWS CLI, grab us the VPC ID for the VPC that is named. What was the name of this VPC? NACL example VPC. And one thing I didn't check while I was creating this was what is the CIDR range, but is that 10? So I think we're okay, the 10.00.16. But anyway, yeah, that's the, we'll say get VPC ID. And we'll go back over to here. I'll just say named that using the AWS CLI. Do not just provide the command. Don't describe, as I don't need an explanation. And this is just going to save us a bit of time. We can write this by hand, but it's just faster to grab it here. And we're not learning a whole lot by writing it out by hand. Okay. And so we have our filter. We have our query. And I think we could just actually do this as well because there's only one thing returned. So that should work as well. We're saying filter for the tag name values of NACL VPC. So if I run this here, open this up here. I guess we didn't really have to do it because we just copy it in place. I don't know why. I was thinking I was making like a bash script for some darn reason. It's probably because like last time I made a bash script, so. But it doesn't hurt doing this anyway. None. It didn't even work. Anyway, we'll grab the VPC ID here. Whatever. And we'll just not do that part there. But I'm going to just go ahead and replace this here. Of course, you'll replace it with what you have. Just say create NACL. And it might be as simple as that. So let's go ahead and try that out. Paste, enter. Great, so we have created ourselves a NACL. Notice that it comes in with some entries. So we have here egress true for 0, deny for everywhere. And we could probably just look at this at the NACL level here. So if we go over to our NACLs and we go down, you can see that we already have some default NACLs, and we have the NACL that we just created. So we have the default one, then we have this one here. If we click into our default one, we'll take a look at its inbound rules. We have 100, all traffic, all, 0 allow, and then deny for everything else. Then we have outbound. It's the same procedure. So basically, what it's saying is like we're allowing traffic from everywhere, and if we had any other catch-alls, then they would be denied. So what I want to do is launch up an EC2 instance within our VPC here. So it would be really nice if we could just start having a script that we can continually use. And I'm actually very tempted to do that. So I'm going to just make a new folder here called EC2. And I'm going to just call this, well, I don't know. Since we are kind of working with VPC, I just don't want to do that just yet. So I'm going to go here and just going to make a new CloudFormation template called template.yaml. And what I want to do is launch up an EC2 instance. So let's say EC2 instance CloudFormation. And we'll scroll on down, and they probably will have some kind of example here for us. Yeah, here's a simple one. And I'll just carefully look at this and configure it. So we'll just paste that in. We need to have resources up here. We need a little bit more than that for our template. There should be something here like best practices or working with templates, template formats. Here we go. So I want this top line here. We'll grab actually these two. And we'll go back over to here and we'll paste these in. And this will just be launch a simple EC2 for use with testing VPCs. So we have at AWS EC2 instance. We need to provide an image ID. It's obviously going to be dependent on where you are. So get me the AMI image for Amazon Linux 2 for SAA-C03 using the AWS CLI command. Okay, we'll see if it can do that. But the idea is that when you want to get the AMI, you would go over to EC2, and you're going to go and launch that EC2. And in here, we're looking for, in here, this thing right here. Okay, the AMI value. This is scoped based on the region. So if you go to a different region, it will actually change even though it's the same image. Because there could be slight variation based on compliance or something. I'm not really sure. But, or maybe configuration in terms of like default time zone and stuff on that machine. But I'm hoping that we can just use something like this. So we'll copy this code in here. We'll go back over to our console. And I want to see if we can just grab that programmatically, because that's really how we should grab it, to be honest. And it's just reconnecting here. So I'll just hit Q. And then we'll paste that in here. We'll say paste, and we'll hit enter. And so we're getting stuff back. It's a little bit of a mess. So I'll just take out the text output on that. Okay, so what does this thing even do? Let's go back and take a look. Here, just say get AMI for Amazon Linux 2. And this thing is a mess, but we will figure it out here. So we got owners. It's all basically a filter. And then we'll go here. We're saying CA-C01. Okay. And I guess there's more than one. So we are looking for a very particular one. I should have been more specific. This one here is HVM 2023. So we just paste this in here. Let's just take a look. So this one's saying the value is AMZ2, AMI, HMV, which is correct. I mean, this seems okay, but why is there so many images then? That's what I want to know. So we'll go back over to here. And I mean, we have quite a few here. But which one actually matches the one that we want? 0B47. Is that one even in here? 04, whoops. Can I search? 04B, B as in boy. It doesn't even show up there. This has always been kind of hard for me to do programmatically. I'm not sure why. Even with ChatGPT's help, I just never seem to ever get the results I want here. But, and we have the query here. So what I'll do, I'm just going to take this part out for a second. Bring this down onto a new line. Take this out for just a moment. I think this is a valuable line for us to spend some time getting. So let's just spend a little bit of time here. And we'll hit enter, paste, paste, enter. Okay. So we are getting some images here. And so I'm just carefully looking what it is. It's x86-64. Linux, Unix, okay, good. So what the heck is the difference here? I mean, this one doesn't have a hyphen, this one does. Maybe these are just different variants. Yeah, I'm just carefully looking here. Just give me a second and I'll speed us through this, okay? Anyway, it's not helping too much, but the thing is that I think that all of these are technically free tier. And I think they're pretty much all the same. I think it's just we have ones with different dates. And so I think we're just seeing ones that are newer or older than others. So maybe we go back here, because I couldn't do free tier, but we'll go back here and just say, get me the return only one with the most recent creation date. Okay, so maybe that will help a bit here because I don't need all of them. I just want the one that is the latest. And this might not be perfect, to be honest, but we'll try our best here, okay? Worst case, we'll just copy and paste it, but we should try this because this is how I would want to do it. And this is how you should want to do it too, programmatically. So go here. And let's hope that we just get one back here. So we'll go try this again. Paste it in. Paste. Enter. I mean, that seems fine. It's not the exact same one, but maybe I could just see a little bit more, more confidence if I see a bit more information on it. Just gonna go here and paste it down, and we'll just take out the query part. No, but that query is how we get all the information about it, right? So maybe I'll just take off the image ID part of it. There we go. And then let's see if it'll just describe this one in particular. Paste, enter, enter. I don't want the output to be text because I can't read it that way. We'll say output table. And so this creation date here, 2024, very new. Well, I don't see anything wrong with using this one. So yeah, I guess that's fine. We'll go back over here. I just want the image ID, to be honest. So we'll just go here and do that. Just say grab the latest AMI Amazon Linux 2 instance. Sorry, AMI ID. Or, well, whatever. We know what it's doing. So we'll go back over here, and we'll just go back and paste in this command again. And I'll hit enter. And so I'm going to use this as the actual one that I want to spin up this here. So we'll just grab that and We can put it in as a parameter, so we'll just say parameters here. Parameters. I'll just say image ID, and I can say default, and paste that in there. Then we can reference it down here, so just say ref image ID. I don't want to download a key pair, so I'm going to see if I can take that out. I also don't want to specify the device block size, so I'm going to try to take that out as well. I'm hoping that's all I need to do, but I need to specify what where this EC2 instance is going to go. So in here, we'll go back to the EC2 instance. And let's just take a look at what's required. So we'll go here and it says, I mean, if we don't specify anything, it will automatically go into the default VPC. So I'm just searching here for VPC. Just carefully looking. If it isn't like that, should be able to specify. I don't know why this one's so hard. CloudFormation template to launch a basic EC2 instance in a specific VPC. I thought they'd be like, here's your VPC, but maybe we have to choose a subnet or something else. It is a subnet ID, okay. So go back here, subnet. It's right here. The ID of the subnet to launch the instance in, so we'll go ahead and copy this. Ref subnet ID. Subnet ID. I'm going to just default it to a value. We can go back over to here. And we'll go to subnets. And we only have a single subnet for it. And that one was 10.0.0, etc. Just going to go ahead and refresh this because it's not appearing in our list. There we go. And its ID here is this. So we'll go back over here and paste that in. So now we have an image ID and a subnet ID. I mean, security group would probably be good as well. Security group. We have two options, security group IDs. The name of the security group, for non-default VPCs, you must use security group IDs. So we'll go ahead and copy this one. Okay, and we'll go down here. And the idea is that we would provide that ID, but we need to actually create ourselves a security group. So that's what we'll do next. I'll just go to a new tab here and we'll just say security group CloudFormation. I know a lot of work just for NACLs, but you know, again, this is stuff that you would generally have to do. So let's do everything and get cross-domain skills here. That's an example of a security group. So we'll go ahead and grab that. And we'll paste that on in here. So we'll say SG. We'll keep it nice and simple. And then the idea is that I want to be able to reference this as the security group. It might be the case that it might not return that by default. So we'll have to double check here. When you pass logical ID, you're returning the resource ID. And then down here, the group ID for the specified group. Is that going to be the same? I'm not sure. It's not really indicating that. So I'm going to go back here and say get ATT. And then I'm going to say SG dot group ID. And then here we're supposed to specify the VPC. So that's really interesting. So we'll have to go back up here. And then our parameters will just say VPC ID. And I'll go back here and just say VPC ID. We'll have to go grab that as well. So go back to your VPCs. And we'll grab this value. We'll say default. I think we also have to say type up here. So say string. You think I'd know writing so much CloudFormation, but when you're not doing something for 2 seconds, you're going to forget. So we'll do that. This has ingress, egress to everywhere. That's totally fine. So it's from port to port, which is fine. I kind of would prefer it to go everywhere. So I'm just thinking about this for a second. Let me think, okay? All right. I mean, like, I'd like to keep these wide open so that I can just do whatever I need to do. So let's go up to the syntax over here. Egress from port. If the protocol is TCP UDP is the start of the port range, oh, just tell me how to do it. Security group that allows any inbound or outbound traffic as a template. Okay, so I just don't know how to do ranges. I can't remember how to do them, so I don't want to spend forever looking for it. So let's just get ChatGPT to help us out here. Be back here when it's done generating, okay? All right, so we can just use -1 for everywhere? Really? Okay. If it works, it works. I'm fine with that. So let's go ahead and copy that. Did not know that. And did it say that in the docs? Use -1 to specify all protocols. Okay. All right. Looks weird, but apparently it's okay. The reason I want to keep it open is that we don't want to have the security group restricting port access when we're trying to test restrictions on port access on the NACL. And so that's the reason why I'm doing that. But anyway, so we have our SGs, getting reference there. I think that we kind of have everything. We didn't choose the size of the instance. That's kind of important. So there'd be instance type, right? So we'll go here and we'll say T2 micro. We can go up at the top here and just say instance type as well. Type string default T2 micro. That should still be free tier. And I mean, that looks like everything that we probably need. So we have this template, and what we can do, there's a lot of ways to launch templates, and you'll see us do it in a variety of ways. But today I'm going to keep it nice and simple, and we're going to make our way over to CloudFormation. We'll just upload the template directly, because that is something that we can do, right? So what I'm going to do here is create a new one, a new standard one, and I'll need to download this template. So I'm going to go back over to here. I'm going to download this template to my computer. All right, and just give me a moment to go get it. All right, and so over here, we can bring in that template. So template is ready. Upload from a file. I think I can drag it onto that area if I drag it right here. Yeah, I can. And hopefully it works. We'll go next. It says the security group ID's resource definition is malformed. So what that's saying is that where we reference this, it doesn't like it. Which to me, it looks fine. So what does it not like? You know what? It's supposed to be indented under the properties here like this. That's probably why. We'll save that again. And we'll download it again. I'll delete the old one before I download this one. You know, again, I'm just showing you variations in different ways. So sometimes we will take a CloudFormation template and use the CLI and all sorts of ways. Invalid template property called SG. The reason why is that we didn't indent this under the resources, so it doesn't know what it is. So we'll save that again. You get really good at spotting your problems if you keep working with this stuff over and over again. So even though I make mistakes, I can easily spot them. We'll go ahead and hit next. Unresolved resource dependency image ID in the resource block of the template image ID. So maybe there's a spelling mistake. So we'll go back over to here. And I think that there is. We'll just put that as a lowercase ID. We really should be consistent with these, so I'm just going to lowercase that. I thought it wasn't case sensitive, so I'm actually surprised that even matters. Unless it was saying something else here. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure what the problem is here, but we'll go ahead and try this again. We'll download it again. And we'll go back over to here. We'll try to upload the template. We will close this. We'll hit next. And we'll just say my EC2. You can see we have some parameters that will be filled in. We'll hit next. We will go ahead and attempt to create this. And we'll wait for that to create. Something that we should probably have done is we probably should have created an IAM role, because if we don't create an IAM role, we're not going to have a means to log into the resource. So I'm going to go here and just say in CloudFormation, launch an EC2 instance that has an IAM role that grants the EC2 instance access to use Sessions Manager. And I have code somewhere for this, but we're going to just have it generate this out, and we'll evaluate if that's any good. But I just realized this template's going to be kind of useless because we need to actually log into the instance to see if the internet is blocked or not, right? Otherwise, there's no point. And we are getting IAM role. It looks like the permissions are way more than I expect it to be. That doesn't look right. Please use a managed role instead of creating your own. It should not be doing that. And this is what I mean, like, you can't just trust ChatGPT to make stuff, because it'll just dump out a bunch of junk. If it ever decides to stop talking, you can stop talking now. I can't hit the stop button because if I do it, it won't remember the context of what it's written. There we go. Please don't describe anything. Just give me the code. Okay, so that's the one I want, AWS SS Managed Instance Core. Now, what's important to know is that some of them are old and some of them are new. So I'm going to go and just double check that over in IAM. And by the way, this one we're running here, it did create, but I'm going to go ahead and delete it because it's kind of useless to us right now. And I want to go to roles and I want to see what that is. So let's just type in SSM. As there's roles in here, or policies, I should say, that there's old ones and new ones, and you only want to use the new ones. So if I go here, we have Amazon EC2 role for SSM. It doesn't say this one is old. Let's go back over to here to ChatGPT and see what it says. So is this one here? Let's take a look. This one is, try this again, SSM. So this one's the deprecated one, and it says to use that one. Okay, so it did use the new one, which is good. And so all I really wanted was this part here. Okay, so we'll go back over to our template. And then if we go here again, we can grab this. And we don't, again, need a key name because we're going to use Sessions Manager to log into this instance. This is supposed to be under our actual EC2 instance. So go back here. And this looks okay to me, great. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and download this. Download. And we'll go back over to CloudFormation. And we're going to go ahead and launch this. So I'm just going to drag this on back on over. I downloaded more than once. I just don't want to get confused and launch an old one. So I'm just going to download it one more time here. You can't see it, but it's just some old conflicts. And I'll drag this over here. We'll go ahead and hit next. And we'll just say EC2 instance, EC2 for, because whatever we name it is going to be for NACL. So NACL EC2, NACL EC2 example. So we're going to want to make sure we name that. That will help us later on. Go ahead and hit next. And we'll have to acknowledge that. So it has IAM capabilities. When you create instance profiles, it even said that in there. You have to checkbox that. So we'll give that a little bit of time. Well, that was fast. The role with the name Amazon SS Managed Score cannot be found. Are you kidding me? It's right here. SSM. Let's go back over to here. It is right there. You're crazy. Let's click into that. That's its ARN over there. We'll go back over to our CloudFormation template. Here it wants the roles. So let's go look up this one, since I don't seem to trust that. AWS, CFN. And we'll go here. And here we have roles. So it says the name of the role to associate with instant profile. Only one role can be assigned to an EC2 instance at a time. Oh, the role. Okay, sorry. So we have a policy that's called that, but we don't necessarily have a role. So we'd actually have to create the role. Let's go back over here and take a look. So maybe we're missing something from our ChatGPT code. So here we have this role, but it's not showing that role. Go back here, roles. All right, so we gotta go back here and say, this should create a new role called, which uses the managed policy called, and that's, I think it was my instructions weren't the best because I told it to use a managed role, but it can't because there is no managed role. It can use a managed, use a managed policy. And so we'll have to create our role here. There we go, that's what I wanted. So we'll go back to wherever that is. Here it is. And we'll just click above here as such, or paste in here above. And then we can just reference that. Here, there we go. So now we should be in good shape. All right, so I'll delete the old template off my downloads. I'll download this new one. We'll go back over here. If you don't like this kind of levels of repetition, you're not going to like cloud, because this is 100% how cloud is every day. We'll go here and upload this template. Oops. There we go. And we'll say next. This is EC2, NACL EC2 test. We'll go ahead and hit next. And next. And we'll checkbox this and we'll go submit. And so now it should launch. Probably what would have been really good is if we set up Amazon or an Apache server using user data. So that's something that I think would have been useful. So launch or install an Apache server via user data. Okay, let's see if it'll just add that to the instance. All right, again, just give me the code for the CFN. Don't explain. I have it somewhere. Again, I'm not going to go dig it up when it's so easy to grab this way. There we go. There's that user data. And that, yeah, that looks correct to me. So that's all I really want is this part here. And we'll go back over to here. And we'll just go down here and paste that in. So the thing is that a user data can either take a YAML file or it can take a very specialized YAML file or a bash script. And so the idea is that via yum, it will install HTTPD. And I guess that is the main way of doing it because there's Apache too, or there's HTTPD. And I mean, that looks right to me, so that should work. But this instance is launching, and that's okay. Like if this launches, we can launch it again once it's done. So we'll wait for this to finish, and if it's successful, then we'll go launch this again with the user data script, okay? All right, so that's deployed there. Let's go take a look at our EC2 instance. So we just go over here and take a look. And there's our instance. It's running, so that's really good. And let's just make sure that we can actually get into that instance. It'd be nice if it was named so that we know exactly which instance is ours. Want to connect this. To connect to an instance sessions manager, it requires an IAM profile. You can create an instance profile and assign it to your instance. Didn't we do that? If we go here, we stopped and relaunched it because it didn't have it. And so we do have an IAM role here. So why is it giving us that message? Can I connect to it? Why not? We don't have a public IP address. Oh, okay. Why not? Maybe we need to specify that when we launch the EC2 instance. I thought it would auto-assign one. It might matter like for our VPC because we created our VPC, but I'm not sure if it auto-assigns for that subnet. Let's just go take a look. So if we go into our VPC here, and then into here, and into our resource map, and we click into our subnet, we'll open this up. We'll go to route tables here. Or sorry, I'm looking for auto-assign. And so auto-assign is actually turned off. So if we go and change that, edit subnet settings. Okay, so by default, non-default subnets have an IPv4 public address attribute set to false. I guess this kind of makes sense because if IPv4 addresses cost money, every time you launch one up, you'd be encouraging people to have spend. And so I guess the idea here is that if it doesn't assign an IPv4, then that would be less of an issue. Okay. And I guess it would probably be good if we used IPv6 because there would be no cost to us. I'm just not very good with IPv6, to be honest. But I guess during this refresh, I should get a lot better for everybody here. So let's go back to our EC2 for a moment, because I just want to know if it's auto-assigning anything to it. And that's where we're running into an issue here, because if this is using IPv4, and let's say we want to use IPv6, we'd have to then convert our VPC into an IPv6 one. So I think for the time being, we'll just turn this into an IPv4 one, and just understand there is a cost with IPv4. I can't avoid it anymore. There's probably some kind of free tier. I'm not really sure, but just like IPv4 costs, because there's a new cost now with AWS. So it says here, will be charged 0.0005% per IP per hour for all public IP addresses attached. So if we had an IP address for 730 hours, that's $3.65. Okay, so understand that there's that, and I can't really work around that if I want to teach you cloud. So we'll go here and we'll want to have an IPv4 address assigned. So somewhere in here we should be able to set that. Somewhere. So I should type in IPv4. Doesn't say where. Assign an IPv4 address, public address. To the instance. There we go. And oh, it's down under network interfaces. So if we have a network interface, is that what we have to do to do that? I guess I'm just so used to it automatically assigning it that I would never normally have to set up a network interface. But I mean, if that works, that's really good. But wouldn't this already have a network card? So if we go down here to networking, it has a network interface. And so I guess my thought is like, are we just enabling it on this one? Yeah, because notice this doesn't have a public IPv4 address. So if we click into here, I don't want to do it here because we need to do it in our CloudFormation template, but could we assign that address there? And I mean, that's what I think that it's suggesting that we can do. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go. I know it gets more and more complex as we go, but whatever. This is how it is. So I'm going to assume that this is going to be the default device that it's attached. And here, I guess we need to specify the subnet again. Subnet ID. And I'm not sure why we'd have to set the group set on this. Is that really the easiest way to set it? Because I thought there'd be like a simple flag for that. Let's just carefully look for network interface then. If you use this property to point to network interface, you must terminate the original interface before attaching a new one to allow the update to succeed. That's fine. What is this group set? The ID of the security groups of the network interface. Oh, okay. That's pretty straightforward. I thought that was something else. So we'll go here and just say get ATT sg.groupid. It's interesting, like we set it here, but we also set it there. So I'm surprised, like, I'd be surprised. I would think that you could omit those and have them here elsewhere. But the question is this going to spin up another ENI, or are we just going to have a single ENI? That's what we're going to find out here. I'm going to go ahead and delete my template. And it was kind of suggesting that if we're going to fiddle with the NICs or the ENIs, that it has to tear down the old one and make a new one. I'm going to hope that it does that in the CloudFormation template. I'm going to go ahead and download this. We're going to go back to here. And what we'll do is actually update our stack. And so we'll replace the current template by uploading our file, drag it over, and we'll go next. Every ref must have a single string value. Doesn't it? Where does it not? Oh, right here. I made a mistake. There we go. And so I'll just download that again. We'll go back over to here. I'll just give this a refresh because I don't trust AWS all the time. And we'll click update. We'll replace the current template. We'll go over here. And we'll do that. Okay. And we have an error. So it says network interface and instance level of subnet ID must not be specified on the same request. So that's kind of like what I was wondering. So I'm thinking that maybe we just comment these out like this. Because why would you need them twice? And that was kind of what I brought up there a second ago. So we'll go ahead and delete it. Download again. We'll go over here. We'll go back. We'll give this a refresh. And we'll update our stack again. We'll replace the current template. We'll upload again. We'll drag this on over. We'll hit next. We'll hit next. We'll go all the way down the bottom. We'll hit next. We'll acknowledge. Good. We'll submit. And maybe this time we'll have more luck. All this just to test out NACLs. And all we're going to do with NACLs is just make sure that when we utilize the NACL that we can block our specific IP address on a specific port so that we can show that it's working. Because NACLs have the ability to block, whereas security groups do not. And I'll be back here when this is done or if it fails, okay? All right, so that looks like it updated. We're going to make our way back over to EC2. And what we're really interested in is that attached instance. Again, this is just because AWS had made that change, and so we had to do a bit extra work here. So we go over to networking and we go down below. Sorry, let's refresh this because it might be looking at older data. I really don't trust this page. And we'll try this again. And we'll go back over to networking and we'll scroll on down. And so we do have our ENI here. And we do have a public IP address now. Okay, great. So that was really important because if we don't have that, I don't think we can connect to this. So now notice we have no connection issues. So we'll go ahead and connect it. We really needed that to work because otherwise we would have to spin up a VPC endpoint or a gate, something. VPC endpoint, yeah, and those cost money. We don't want to do that. So this will be sudo su-ec2 user because the default user for Amazon Linux 2 is EC2. And by default, you're not that user. I'll just show you if you type in who am I. You don't want to be the SSM user. You want to be the EC2 user. So you're going to say sudo su-space EC2 user. And now we're logged in as that user. We type in who am I. So that's who we are. Now this is supposed to be running a web server. I'm not sure if we have curl installed or wget. We do have wget. So we'll type in localhost port 80. And notice it downloaded an index.html page. So that means that that Apache server is running. If we wanted to make sure it was running, we could type in ps-aux grep maybe Apache. And there it is. It's running here, HTTPD. So we can see that it is currently running. If we used sudo systemctl status HTTPD, it could probably tell us if it's running, and it is. Surprised I remembered that command off the top of my head. But anyway, the web server is running. And if what we want to do is see it working from the outside, we'll grab that IP address and we'll just paste it in somewhere here. Okay, and so this is resolving and we have this. So now the idea is that NACLs operate the subnet level, and we should be able to adjust our NACL to have a rule that's going to block for our IP address. So what I want to do is get my IP address. I'm going to say, what is my IP address? What's my IP address? And we'll go here. And it says that I'm at 174.1.10.10.83 and there's an IPv6. And what I want to do is update that NACL to specifically block on that. So back over in our script here, we've created our NACL, but let's go add a rule. So what I want to do is say, we'll just grab this here. I'll go over to ChatGPT. Add a rule to my NACL that blocks inbound traffic from this IP address for AWS using the AWS CLI. Don't explain, just show the code. Okay, let's see if it can figure out that big mess of what I wrote. And that looks pretty much right. So we'll grab that. We'll go back over to our document. Say add entry. We'll take a look at what we have. And now we know -1 means from anywhere. Let's see if we can make sense of this. So we need our NACL ACL ID here. This is going to be for ingress. It's going to have a rule number of 100. So the thing is, the lower the number, the higher priority. And so I'm thinking that we should set this as 90 because we should do increments of 10. And this is saying from anywhere, any protocol, so either TCP or UDP. And it's blocking the entire range of ports, not just 80, but all ports. And it's not allowing from here, and /32 is a way of specifying an individual IP address. And we know that because if we go over to CIDR and we were to put in 32, you'll notice it says 1, okay? So we'll go back over to here. And we'll bring this up. And we'll bring in NACL. And we'll paste that in, and we'll copy this. And what we'll do is we'll go back over to here, and we will add our rule programmatically. We'll paste it in. We'll say paste, enter, enter. We'll go check our NACL, make sure that that has been set. Just type in NACLs here. Oh, we're already under NACLs. So if we click into this one here, this is our new one. And this one isn't associated with any specific. We'll have to refresh this. It's not. We'll have to hit enter to do that. Inbound rule. Oh, did we do it on the default one? We did. Okay, I didn't want to add it to this one, so we'll go ahead and remove that. And we'll go back and we'll try it on the one that we actually wanted to do it on. It was this one here. So I meant to grab this one. I mean, it would still work with the default one, but I don't want to fiddle with the default one. I want to apply it to this one here. So we'll paste that here like that. We'll go ahead and copy this and we'll try this again. We'll type in clear just to make things a little bit easier. We'll paste this in. We'll say paste. We'll hit enter. And so now if we check our NACLs, inbound, I have to give it a hard refresh because this UI is the worst. And we'll click on this and go inbound. And so there's our rule. We have a deny 90. Now the other interesting thing is that it actually denies on everything. So I thought this one would have had an inbound of 100, and it doesn't. So it just looks like because when we created a new one, it just doesn't have that. So we would have to add that in ourselves. I'll just manually add it in. We don't have to do everything programmatically, but we should do our best when we can here. 100, all traffic. I'll just say allow. Okay, because that's basically what it would be like. And same thing here. We'll just say add a new rule, and we'll just say 100, all traffic, allow. And so that kind of looks like more of a normal NACL. And what we need to do is we need to associate the specific subnets with this one. So we'll take this one here. And so now this one is associated over here. If you go down here, it's no longer associated with the default one. And we could leave the default one alone because then we don't have to fiddle with it. So if we go back over to here and we refresh, it should never resolve because we've blocked it, right? So it should just keep moving here and it should eventually time out. So I just want to prove that it's going to time out. So I'm just going to pause the video and can come back here when it's done. And if yours is hanging, you don't have to wait forever, okay? All right, and so notice that it's saying the site took too long to respond. It's because we blocked it. And so if we go back into our inbound rule here and we edit our rule and we remove this rule and we save it and we go back and we refresh, it now resolves. It's taking a little bit of time, but it will resolve. Okay, reload. Come on, you can do it. We'll go back here. Let's take a look here. Yeah, this should be fine. Inbound. Go back here, give it a refresh. Well, we did remove the rule. Let's just refresh that. Maybe we didn't. No, we did. Inbound. Source destination. And, you know, if you never trust it, like I don't always trust it here, but if you're having issues, you can always open another browser to find out. So just give me a moment. All right, it's not resolving here either. I'm a bit confused because we added that rule. Now it just decided not to work. So just give me a moment. All right, so what I did is I just double clicked into here and I noticed it was actually trying to do HTTPS. So I changed it back to that and now it's doing that. So just to make sure this wasn't a fluke, I'm gonna go back and add this rule in again. We'll add a new rule, we'll call it 90. We'll say on all traffic and we will deny. And so the idea is, well, really we just want to do on that single IP. So what's my IP address? So actually, you know what? Sometimes you can drop down and choose your, no, you can't here. And so I'm just going to grab this again. Okay. I'm going to try this again here. /32. We'll go refresh this. And so now it should not work. Notice it's not resolving. Excellent. And if we go back to our inbound rules and we edit and we remove the rule, we save it and we refresh, now it instantly works. Okay, so it's working as expected. And that's all I really wanted to show you for NACLs. It can also work for outbound traffic. It's a little bit harder because it's hard to say like, let's block the IP address of Google. Like let's say we try to download a page there, or we'd have to launch up another EC2 instance in another subnet, and that's where it gets to be a lot more work. So I think that this is good enough and it satisfies us testing NACLs. Hopefully you didn't mind the huge detour, but we did learn a lot and I think it was valuable to go off the path there a bit. I'm going to commit these files and just say VPC NACL here. And we'll just commit. I'll make our way back over to here. I'm going to delete this. And I don't want to be running this instance anymore. So it is shutting that one down. So that's good. So once that's done, we'll then tear down the rest. So just give it a moment, okay? All right, so what we'll do is go ahead and type in VPC. And from here, what we'll do is go ahead and delete the VPC. And so that should delete, yeah, all the NACLs that we have associated with it. It looks like it anyway. If it doesn't, we should just double check. See if we have any extra internet gateways. I don't know why we keep ending up with some extra IGWs, but let's just delete them. Sometimes they delete them, sometimes they don't. I don't know. Who cares? And we'll make our way over to NACLs. Nope, just one NACL. Okay, great. So we are in good shape, and I will see you in the next one. All right, ciao.